They say he can't, but he can. They say he won't, but he will. He's more than what he has been through. His heart is strong, he will break through. He is able. He is able.
Hey guys, this is something that you don't want to miss. Our first Faith and Mental Health Tour is stopping in Orlando, Florida on May 22nd at 5 p.m. A Chili's Art Cafe located at 2295 South Hiawassee Road, Unit 100. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get back to our show. Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, we are getting ready for our show, and tonight we're going to be talking about why men should check their brothers. This is a very important talk because I feel like a lot of times we are found in a place where we really do not we do not see the importance of men checking each other. I mean, every comment, everything that we do, it's important that we hold each other accountable. And the more men hold each other accountable for things, the practices and things that they do, it's very important that we'll start to see, it's important that we realize that we'll start to see better results, not only within homes, but also in communities in general. So tonight, we want to make sure that we invite some people in right quick. Let's get the conversation started. I'm looking to get some conversation going. Let's get some people talking back and forth to us. It's really good that we have the conversation tonight. Shav, hey, what's up, man? Thanks for inviting some people in. Invite. So important, guys. Right about now, I'm just going to jump over right quick. We do not have Rashard with us tonight. He's handling some business. But we do have our faithful brother here. Kevin Kane. Give him a shout out if you could, my brother.
How you guys doing? It's been a crazy week in this crazy world, man. But we just gotta keep trusting in God. This is gonna be a great show. I like the topic. Link somebody to the show and get them on in. All right.
Speaking of a bad week, man, what do you think about the situation that occurred up in Buffalo, bro?
Wow, man. They're trying to say the guy is insane, but how could you be insane when you actually enter a grocery store, see someone of your color, and say sorry?
Yeah, this is one of those situations where I really don't think it was a matter of mental illness. It might have been an illness of hate. But typically, this situation to me was kind of crazy too, man. For you to target certain colors and have that's more surrounded by hate and just the evil thing that you have going on. That I don't think that's much to do with any type of a mental health. People like to lean on that mental thing kind of as an excuse sometimes when they do certain things, hoping that they can get off with the courts.
Exactly.
And I don't think that it's cool that the courts allow people to get away with certain things like that. Man, this is crazy. This is definitely a crazy world, man.
Definitely crazy, man.
I thought to myself for a while, man, that hopefully my children would grow older in a society, in a country where things change from what it was when I was a kid. And now the sad thing is we only see, as the Bible said, there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
In other words, let's just say this: peace only comes short term, and evil will return. It has always happened. It always will happen. I don't care how much we preach, how much we teach. It will always return because there's nothing new under the sun. If it was once, it will be again. So we just got to kind of wake up to that. And I realize that right now it's better to be teaching my children survival methods and how to keep themselves safe and family safe and loved ones safe versus walking around in bliss, thinking that everyone loves you, or everyone will somehow respect you in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, man, it is a crazy world, man. So what do you think about this topic that we're going to be talking on tonight? I'm seeing people jump in, of course. I'm glad you guys got online with us. Please share this. Brothers, check your brothers. This is the thought process we're in right now, man. Why is it important for brothers to check each other? Come on, Cameron, share with me a little bit about what you think, right quick, before we start getting everybody in and they start talking. Let's talk on this for a minute.
I think that brothers should check brothers and also check on brothers, because we go through a lot daily, on our jobs, at home, family situations and so forth, and get under a lot of pressure with a lot of things. And sometimes a brother might get out of line, and if you have a true friend, friend is going to tell you when you're wrong or when you're right, whether the woman is wrong or whether she's right. If he's true, he's going to say, listen, man, you need to listen to your wife, your girlfriend, whoever your companion is. You're going to check that brother. Now, I think as far as checking him, you shouldn't direct him in the way of, discouraging him in a certain way, as far as being negative, as far as, oh, you don't need to be with her, this, that, give them some encouragement or some guidance, as far as maybe they need help as far as counseling or so forth. Maybe you need to check deeper within yourself. That kind of talk is what I think that a brother should talk to another brother.
Yeah, and let's just be real. When we really look at brotherhood, brothers have a tendency to respect each other more,
right?
Through experience, whether it's experience just through life, things changing, things like that. We have a tendency of respecting each other more, and even when it comes to the place of relationships, ladies, I hope you're not offended by this, but the truth of the matter is, most men, even though they may marry in the beginning of marriage and a lot of situations like that, a lot of times men will not take the advice of their spouse. And the reason why is because with men, it takes time. Once a man can trust you, or a man feels that there's comfort with you, or can trust you, then they'll begin to gravitate and replace the need for that checking with brothers, with their wives or spouses. But it takes time for them to learn to trust. But a lot of times with brothers, between brothers, as they spend time together, they have already had a camaraderie where they have a level of respect or trust that is already there. So they're able to check each other, which is why I say tonight it's so important for men to check each other. If you know that a brother is doing something that is not right, regarding their relationship, regarding their just in life general choices that they're making that are unhealthy or unsafe, it's important that we open our mouth and say something. Yes. It's important that we say something to each other, because truthfully, that's how you really truly prove that you love someone. That's how you really truly prove that you have love for your brother. Is not just through random words, but really through the process of what you actually help in the area of help, of directing someone. So that's very important, man. And I tell you, many relationships have been ruined. Many husband and wife relationships have been ruined because of the wrong people in the life of the spouse. So we have to look at that. You know what I mean? Do you have any? Let me ask you this, Cameron. As far as example, have you ever seen that before yourself?
Repeat that question again. As far as relationships being ruined by having a wrong brother in your life that gives you the wrong advice. Right. Now I'm gonna go back
and giving you good advice. They kind of just go with you, whatever you're saying or whatever you're doing, just because they don't want to ruffle feathers. You know what I mean?
Right. I've seen that, and going back to like what I was saying earlier, not trying to destroy, like intervene as far as try to destroy the relationship between the couple. But if something is toxic, I mean, you still have to be straight up and say, listen, from what you're explaining to me, this relationship is toxic. But you know, with God, things can turn around, but God give us a choice and a will. So
Right.
both of you have to come to that place where you're willing to change things around, and maybe it might be untoxic, you see. But as far as what I've seen in the past with situations, sometimes it just doesn't work, you know. But for others, it may have worked. Someone out there probably had that situation and there was a turnaround, you know.
Yeah.
Prayer works, but sometimes, you know, we can't always say prayer, because you can pray all you want, but if it ain't supposed to be together, it just ain't gonna be together,
Right.
you
True.
know.
I have
So
a question from Marilyn. She says, how do you guys handle it when you check your brother and they get offended, even if you say say it in the most heartfelt way with good intentions? You know, you can't really have too much control over their reaction. I will say this, that sometimes you will have issues. You will have ruffled feathers, and brothers can actually fall out because someone is giving another brother gives them some stern advice that they shouldn't do something, or it's not good to do certain things a certain way. It happens, but let me just say this: it's needed, because
right,
truthfully, the truth hurts sometimes, and it does feel uncomfortable. And when you do, if you know that it's done from the right place, as far as care and love, in hopes that it will help save that brother from issues, somewhere down the road, that brother's going to realize, man, I got upset with him, but we need to patch this up because he only meant good for me. So that's how we handle it. We really have to say it no matter what. Try to say it in from a good place, that it doesn't sound condescending, or it doesn't sound as if though you're bashing them in any way,
right.
or making them feel small. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
when we do it the right way, the information that is shared is the purest part that comes across. And with that, it's up to that person that's receiving, whether they receive or don't receive. Most likely, they'll receive it faster from a brother than a wife.
Right.
And
I
with
have
that
something to say.
being said, and I'm saying, let me say this: I'm
Okay.
not saying that from a standpoint of a seasoned relationship with husband and wife. I'm saying coming into a relationship. A lot of times, women may feel like, oh, you listen to them more than you listen to me, but really, it's about establishing the trust and the bond with that wife before brothers really do transfer that level of respect over. Truthfully, it's just one of those things. So I got a word from Tiffany. All right, Tiffany Ware. She says, why can't that same view be for the wife? If it's how brothers show love by giving advice to one another, then why isn't it viewed the same from the wife, simply as loving gesture from the wife? As I said, so that question is actually beautiful because it falls right behind what I was just finishing up with Marilyn. It wants the establishment of trust, and is built between husband and wife, and that relationships forms a place of maturity. That's when you will see husband and wife being able to transfer information to each other from that standpoint, and be able to receive it and see it as love. I believe, like for me, especially a lot of in the beginning of my relationship, in the beginning of my marriage, many years of my marriage, I used to look at certain questions as if though they were questions as a drill, or drilling questions, or trick questions, or just control methods or questions and things like that. But it wasn't until I was able to learn or establish my trust, and that I was able to receive certain things, questions, without seeing them in a negative way. That's very important. It's a great question, Tiffany. A really good question. I'm glad you asked that question, because some of our viewers, some of the fellas, I would like to hear from some of the guys tonight. I hope some of the guys jump in and talk a little bit tonight, because it is necessary that we understand that trust is very, very important. I tell you what, we don't. I won't do the call in, but I will bring you on. If you would like to be brought on the screen, please place your just send a private message, or I think there's a way you can actually send over a private message, or you can just put in like an email or something like that, that the link can be sent to. Or as a matter of fact, what I can do, if you're on your phone while watching this show, if you say that you want to be brought online, I can send you a message through Messenger, and all you have to do is click the link and I can bring you on the show. That's very easy. So if you have your phone, Messenger's usually on your phone from Facebook, I can send a link to that. Just let me know, just say, hey, please bring me on the screen, and I'll bring you on the screen. So I would love that. So guys, if you want to be brought on, just let me know so I can bring you on right quick.
I have something to say.
Yes, sir. Cameron, go ahead, my brother.
So going back to Marilyn question, from sometimes men become 16 again, whereas remember when I said a couple of weeks ago that sometimes there are people out there who are listening to this show and might say some negative things, whereas as far as to me, some of the things that they had said to me is like that person may have been going through something they don't want to change. But that's the same way it is with some brothers. When you approach them and you like, listen, man, this is, I feel like you're not supposed to be doing this and doing that from the way you explain this to me, whatever. Maybe you should look at it this way, and they get offended and so forth. I feel as though that person is doing that because they don't want to change. They have in their heart that, look, it goes my way. So, there's both sides. We can't always blame it towards the female and say, oh, it's her. But that it could be that guy also, and he don't want to change his ways. And maybe that's something that his spouse or companion is trying to explain to him. Look, could we work it out this way, or make these changes or so forth? And he gets mad because I might say something to him that she probably mentioned to him that I could see from the conversation that we have, and then it hit his nerve. He gets mad because that's the same thing she told him. You understand? And then it goes back to another thing. Whereas sometimes someone might approach you, ask you a certain question. It might be a test for you because they as a man, may not be as close to you, but you might have said something in the past and they, have something in for you. So I look at it as that person probably might not just be your friend. So no matter what you say, that they're not going to listen.
Right.
Just to answer your question, Marilyn.
Right. And it's the establishment of trust. So when we say man check your brothers, we're talking about, all right, we have a certain amount of respect for each other. And when yes, Tiff, if you are, I am going to send you a link right now. So we have a certain amount of respect that is built. So we have to understand when that respect is built, that now a person can receive from that. So we have to, I don't know why I don't have you on my message. Hold on 1 second, please. We have to realize that it is very important that we build these relationships with each other and go off of things from a direction of really trying to show love. And when you know that a person looks out for you and that a person has a certain type of respect for you, you'll find that they often will listen to what you have to say. Let's see here. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 moment, if you would. I'm going to just send. Please check your email, please. Tiffany, if you would, please check your email. I'm going to have to send this through via email instead because it's not. I don't know why we're not linked in Facebook, but yeah. So sending it to your email right now. You should have it in 1 second. Just click on the link; it'll bring you in, and we can go from there. All right. So yeah. So that's very important. It's very important because I'm telling you, man, to have a great a circle of men that you trust and that has your back as far as having good advice and looking out for your well-being, I think that's the actual success of any man. Yes, and this is outside of talking about marriage, marriage or a spouse. The success of a man really is about the total circle, not just about having a great wife that can do, but also having other men and brothers that are strong that can stand with you, pray with you, also give you great advice, and be confidants in certain ways where you're able to confide in one another certain things that's on your mind and on your heart that you may not be able to share with everyone else. So I think that's very important, man, and I think we overlook it inside of our community a lot, and I think that's an area that we should pay more attention to. Marilyn, let's see what Marilyn says. Yes, many aspects can apply to it. Thanks, Brother Cam. Okay, great. So that is good. So I'm just waiting on Tiffany. She's going to jump in on us here in a few moments. Yes, it's very important and needed, Chef. Yeah, man, I tell you, we overlook so many times the need of brotherhood. And so we always, it's bad when we're so competitive. I think for a long time, women have shown to be able to, not all women, but it's a great majority of women that they form bonds and they talk to one another. They confide in one another. And I believe that for us as men, for that to be absent within brotherhood is a very sad thing. And I think that that we should most definitely fix that. We should do something about that. So we got Tiffany about to jump on the stream right quick. So let's just bring her on right now. And Tiffany, you're about to be live. Okay.
You had to warn me that I was about to be live, Tony.
Yes, I have. I noticed you put a title on your name there. I don't see.
You like my title?
Hey,
hey guys, thank you for having me on. I have been enjoying the show. You guys have been doing a good job with the show. I wanted to make a comment about add to my comment that I made, and you responded to it. Now, I later heard you say it didn't have everything to do with marriage, but I did want to kind of focus on that because it's my passion. We're married, and that's been my passion.
Yes.
So my comment was, I know that this He's Able show is really just a reminder to the man that, he can do it. He can accomplish these things, have good relationships and things of that nature. And so I feel like it's kind of been reactive because I hear us say, well, I feel like a lot of the things we're dealing with after the fact. I feel like during the show, maybe sometimes we should implement proactive measures. And the reason why I say that is because you stated that when a man gets married, he comes into the marriage still trusting his boys over his wife. And for me, I understand the what you're saying. And as you stated, that was, I guess, our experience, that we had to grow into trust. Which my comment is, maybe we're marrying too fast, because for me, if I make the decision to marry you, what I'm telling you is that I trust you with all of me until you show me different in the marriage, if that makes sense. So if I make the commitment to marry somebody, that means I'm already going to trust you with my worst secrets. I'm already going to trust you with those things that I may not be able to share with other people, because you're my spouse, my best friend. And I feel like I should be able to share those things with you versus anyone outside of this home. That's a given from my view coming into a marriage until I'm shown differently. And so I feel like you did say that, well, you know, it was our experience and that you have to grow into that. But I think that maybe we should be teaching people before we get into marriage, make sure that this is somebody that you can trust, you know, and maybe we should go in with that idea versus, well, I have to grow into trusting my spouse. I just don't see how that can be healthy, because with that, I feel like a marriage is already, I hate to say just doomed, but that's just not a healthy way to go into a marriage from my perspective.
And I agree with you 100%. One of the thoughts that comes to mind when I make that statement is, it's that we have to understand that hindsight is a great thing. Wisdom comes later, after the failures. Wisdom comes later. The great amount of knowledge, the wealth of knowledge comes later. In the act of, in the moment of passion, love, meeting someone, deciding you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, marrying someone. A lot of times in our community, we've never been taught communication. And so therefore, we really haven't had great examples of trust being shown in a lot of relationships either. A lot of marriages that have happened in younger ages, you'll see that those marriages happen from a standpoint of the person just knowing that they like that person, they're fond of them, and their emotions are tied into the situation. And so they marry. However, a lot of things they grow into. Marriages are one of those places that do not come already put together. Marriage is like that box of the furniture you buy at IKEA, and you have to read the instructions properly in order to get it to put it together correctly and it not break back apart. It's a timetable. It's a process. It's a lot of failure. It's a lot of work. If marriage was a matter of marrying and it being perfectly sound in that way coming in, we would have so many. The divorce rate would be at an all-time low at a 0% rate. Unfortunately, it's not, and that's the reason why. Is because men have spent a lot of time with friends, guys that they grew up with. They built that camaraderie with, they built that trust with. So yes, even though they get married, guess what? A lot of these guys are still going to confide in their friends coming into a marriage. They're going to be asking their boys, what do they think about certain things? They're going to be running things by them. It's certain things that they are not going to bring to their spouse right away coming into marriage. And I would like other guys to jump on and kind of chime in on it, because I would really love for that to happen. So what happens, like I said, over time, once that is built, like you can marry, people have married so many times before, not completely having, it's different levels of trust. Especially when we're talking about this area, there's different levels of trust. It's hard to like take, but in most people, there's different levels. There's a trust where I trust you enough to trust you that you're not going to cheat on me. I trust you enough to know that you're probably a good woman, but do I trust you enough to share my deepest secrets with? Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Like, some guys are not quite at that place. That's why you have in some marriages, a lot of stuff doesn't really come out till much later in the marriage. Some of the things that were in the dark past, or the dark secrets that were back in their past before marriage, because they haven't built that. But once it's established, like I said earlier in the show, and just to explain, once it's established, that trust is transferred, and that who they confide in transfers, and they put more, that trust in more into their spouse versus those friends that they had at some point that they've grown together as brothers. And so that's why I shared it that way. That's why I made that statement, just to clear it up. I'm not to argue as far as saying, that we shouldn't come into marriages and be able to trust in each other 100%. We should. We really should. In a world where our community is teachable and have taught and raised to be successful in marriage, it really is not the truth as far as what we've been taught growing up. And let's be real. It's a very small percentage of people that from our communities that really got taught how to be successful in marriage. You know what I mean? How to successfully have a relationship at all, not just between man and woman, just a successful relationship as family members. We've never been taught that. So a lot of people haven't been. Let me fix that. A lot of people have not been taught that coming out of our community. So I just wanted to shed light on that. That in our community, it's something that needs to happen before that can take place coming in. But unfortunately, a lot of times it's the brotherhood that these brothers trust in and talk to and confide in a lot of times before they finally grow into that oneness with their spouse. I know that's kind of long, but I just wanted to share so that I can kind of paint a picture of where I was coming from with it.
May I comment?
Sure, absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So I was pretty clear on what you were saying. And I understand the process because if I could just speak on our marriage, we, are very open about how, it was very difficult for us coming in. I don't regret any of that process because I feel like when you fought for something, it makes it even more beautiful when it comes out polished and refined.
Absolutely.
So I loved our process. However, I do feel like, again, even on your show here, I feel like when you made that comment, it was almost like it was okay to come in not trusting. And granted, while it happens and it's going to happen, I think, again, for us, and that's the problem with our culture, we have been reactive. We're waiting until we are damaging our kids because of what we are experiencing. We're waiting until we have caused so much hurt in our marriages that it's now taking years to get through the hurt. We're on the reactive measure. And I feel like when you commented on that, maybe it would have, and it was a true statement, it was a true comment, but I feel like maybe additionally, it probably, if we could just add in there to help the guys coming in to be proactive for those who are aspiring to be married, or even for those who are newly married and have not gotten to the process that we've gotten to, Thomas. Sign out, get into what it can take. Decide what it would take for you to start that process of trusting. If you can do it before, it may save you and your family, your marriage, a heartache. I just feel like maybe, we're not getting, and I guess you guys talked about this before, we're not getting to know people enough before we're marrying. I don't know. But
we
for
did.
me,
We did. Mm-hmm. We discussed that on another show about
right,
the timetable of people actually taking out the time. But just to be clear, when I made my statement, it was not from a standpoint, and I did not, and I just want to reiterate this, that I did not put emphasis on it being okay. My point was that this is what happens. And that was a general statement as far as this is what happens. But no, it's not okay that people come into relationships and don't necessarily trust each other wholeheartedly to the point where they can share all of their secrets. However, I will say this, it is a great majority that this is what happens in relationships. And it happens primarily because in our communities, we have not been taught how to have great relationships, how to communicate. We haven't been taught that because really a lot of our parents didn't know how to do it themselves. How to trust each other. We haven't been taught that because we saw a lot of stuff that was done inside of our parents' relationships and different things like that was not trustworthy, things that we know that was wrong. So therefore, how can we walk into a relationship and be able to totally trust the person that we only have been dating for a couple of years or this, that, and the third? You can't. And truthfully, people have dated for more years than 5 or 10 years and still come into relationships and don't know totally who they're dealing with until they're living together and they actually get a chance to wake up with this person and go to sleep with that person. So at the end of the day, trust is something that has to be established, and it has to be something that people grow into together. If we cannot, if I have brothers that I have been around every day, talk to every single day, have established trust in them, of course, naturally, I'm going to still keep my trust where I have trust at until that trust is built and established somewhere else. And it's not eliminating it. And I'm not saying that we should ever eliminate the trust in someone else. I'm just saying that if you're in a relationship, people that are in relationships coming from one place to another where they have friends. If you're marrying someone, most times you're going to notice that those people have those brothers. And this is sharing from a brother standpoint. Again, I'm not expecting women to fully understand this because we don't think the same. We don't think from the same place, and we don't react from the same place as men and women. I'm just going to say that the truth of the matter is, and we can do a poll with the men that are here. Most times men are going to have that brotherhood that they've always had until they establish trust with the person that they're with. Once they establish that trust with the person that they're with, then it transfers a lot of times. So you'll see that a lot. That's not just me talking, but you see that a lot, among guys. So this was a statement mainly speaking men about men to men. And I know that the brothers understand where I'm coming from, but I do understand the concern that you stated, because you're correct. We should spend enough time, and this is what we said in one of our past shows, that we should be teaching our children how to establish relationships. We should teach them how to spend enough time with a person to know what qualities of life to be looking for out of them. And if those things are not noticed or not established, then don't move forward as far as marriage. So those are some of the things that we said in one of the past broadcasts. I don't remember exactly which one it was. I was trying to think of the title, but yes, we did discuss that. But no, I was not saying in any way, shape, or form that it was okay for us to just prepare ourselves to be going into a marriage quickly and not trust the person that we're with. That wasn't the case.
Can I say something?
I know that you didn't say it was okay, but my point was that when you made the comment, you left it there. And I feel like it needed to be brought out that it wasn't healthy to do that, because it really isn't. And I feel like, and let me just say this and I'll let you guys go. I understand totally, Thomas. Again, I loved our process. I don't regret anything. So I totally get it. I totally understand. I understand where our community is. I understand where our people are and where we've come. I'm just saying, again, just proactively, I just feel like, we should be saying, okay, maybe we should. And again, like you said, you will never know a person totally until you're living with them and have spent time with them. I totally agree with that. But if you're marriage for me, and it should be for everyone else, especially the believer. And I have to speak from the believer's perspective, because that's what I am. That's what I was when I married you, a believer. And so I have to speak from that perspective. For me, I do know that growing together is a process. But when I said yes, and I took those vows, to me, I was fully open to you. And I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that that's not healthy. So I do feel like as you guys move on with the show, maybe proactive measures to say, okay, and don't get me wrong, I know you didn't say that it was right, but I feel like it wasn't enough to say that it wasn't right. Like, I feel like you just left it there.
On this show,
like
as watchers of the show, my followers, faithful followers that have been watching me for some time now, they do notice that I tie things together later and kind of put emphasis on the correct way things should be done or whatnot. I don't necessarily do it all the way through the show, because I like to get out I like for people to make a statement that stems other people, to kind of triggers other people to share their thoughts and share their views. And then later I pull it all together so that we're able to.
I know how you work, Daddy. I was just making my comment.
You know me. And I love your input. I'm glad you jumped in, because it's definitely needed. I'm hoping that some of the other ladies would even jump in and share as well, because, at the end of the day, we're nothing without you. And vice versa. This is what makes it all happen. And in order for men to get better, it's very well that we understand that input is needed and counsel is needed as well. And the more we search out the things, our thoughts and our feelings and different reasons why we do the things that we do, it pulls together the perfect view of who we should be and what we've been called to be. And I think that's very important.
Amen.
We love you, girl. I'm glad you jumped in. Look forward to you the next time. All right. Awesome. So we got Tip to jump in. Go ahead, Cameron. You were about to say something, my
Yeah,
brother.
I'm trying. I was trying for a while, trying to make sure I put it together right. I agree with both of y'all, and I agree with what Tiffany says as far as how you come in, as far as trust in a marriage, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that's why counseling is so important. But do we really, you have to have some sort of a trust. That's why you decide to get married. But
Right.
when you said as far as what was it? I had it. I should have write it down. When you were saying as far as when you talk to a guy and it's certain things that you may not want to say to that spouse or that person because you know
Right.
how women are already.
Right.
Even though you get married or you're in that relationship, somewhere down the line, they're gonna bring back up something from the past that you said.
Right.
And I've been there in the
That's
past,
at different
right? And
levels
it
of that's
damages some stuff, you know.
and that's the
Sometimes,
different levels of
yeah,
that's
right,
the different levels that I'm talking about, the different levels of trust that I'm
right,
speaking on.
right,
Those things take time to grow into.
right,
Um, it takes time. And the Bible says, dwell with your wife according to knowledge, understanding who they are, studying who they
right,
are.
right.
And it
So,
takes time. That stuff takes time. And just trust in general. There's certain, like I was saying earlier, there's certain trust that you have coming in. And like for instance, before people get married, I think one of the key trust areas that they want to trust that this person won't cheat on them. They want to trust that this person has their back. They want to trust some,
right,
those areas. But still, there's certain things that you might talk to the guys about to just hash out with them before you go talk to the
right,
wife about it. You know what I mean? So you can kind of get a clear head and a clear thought process before you do the
and
next thing. You know what I
and,
mean? Make the wrong move.
and,
So it's
and
important to have that brother base that
right
can give you sound advice.
now,
There's safety in a multitude of counsel, and that's just very important to remember. Go ahead.
now coming in to like when I said go back to counseling, like Tiffany was saying, so certain things like you got to come in with trust, but we get in counseling and they may have been where the counselor says, I don't think y'all should get married. And people still go ahead and get married. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right.
they feel like they've been together for a while. And this is what they want.
And see, that's
And
the emotional part. See,
right.
The emotion, you
Right.
have the emotions that are tied in.
Right.
Emotions will make you make decisions beyond wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of marriages happen off of emotion. You feel it's a blissful spot where people think. So like, you're in love. You know what I mean? You think that the world is great. Then 6 months down the line, sometimes 2 weeks into the marriage, divorce. You know what I'm saying? 6 months, a divorce. A year, divorce.
Hey.
Everybody does not stick with, everybody doesn't get married for the same reason. And so a lot of things, the true person that they see later, they feel like they were betrayed or they can't trust now. You know what I mean? Afterwards. So we have to be very, very mindful of that. I mean, in a perfect world, man, I tell you the truth, man, in a perfect world, I think one of the worst things I've ever seen is marriage counseling that happens about 3 or 4 times before marriage. Like as soon as the person says they're going to get married, and then they do like 3 times, they do marriage counseling 3 times or 4 times, and then you're getting married like the next week. I think that's crazy.
Right.
Absolutely crazy. Marriage counseling, there should be classes. I'm not talking about like just sit down with somebody and talk together. There should be courses that you take in some form. We study to do everything else perfectly, but when it comes to marriage, we put together this little streamline questions and answer thing, and okay, you guys are good to go get married. No, man, you're going to come into so many different obstacle courses and so many different things that happen in life. You need to know that you're ready, and the basic elements need to be in place to know that you're ready. And those basic elements, trust is one of those things. There's certain levels of the trust that has to be in place. And I think we discussed on one of our last conversations that the reason why I said that I married my wife was that we had the same foundational teaching. as far as belief. Knowing
Right.
that, I knew that there would be certain guidelines and certain boundaries that wouldn't be broken in certain areas. So, with that being said, I believe that you have to really know, you have to know something about the person. And, you know, what that ultimate trust, truthfully, coming into that marriage, the brothers are going to have, but just like women have those girls, let's be real, women.
Right.
Women have some, well, my wife is a little different. She doesn't really like circles too much. But women usually have that girlfriend that they trust coming into that marriage, and they're ride or die. You know what I mean, person, and they have conversations that they typically would not have with the husband right away. So it's the same way, and it's actually good to have someone you can blow off that steam with, talk to, and have trust in that conversation that it keeps and it will stay where it is. But I don't think it should ever trump the amount of trust that should be inside of that relationship. But it comes in time. It's not something that I believe happens right away. In most cases, I think we just have not been established, taught how to establish that immediately. Ramses, how you doing, brother? He says trust is something you build as the person evolves. Exactly. And even so, as we evolve, trust is something that shifts. Even in marriage, you know, as you change and things change throughout the marriage, trust is something that is constantly being built, it's constantly being established, and it's constantly being reaffirmed. Please say that. Please remember that, because trust is something in marriage, and I'm going to say this again. It's constantly being reaffirmed. Why do you say that? Why do I say that? Why do I say that? How many times does the wife come in and say, uh-oh, women, don't get mad at me now. How many times do they say, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And men get tired of saying, yes, I love you. Yes, I love you. I told you yesterday I love you. I told you this morning I love you. And it's like, well, how many times do you need to hear it? As many times that you need to hear it, we say it. You know why? Because the trust and that bond needs to be reaffirmed every time. That's why you ask the question, do you love me? Because you want it to be solid. You want to be reminded. You want to hear it. You want it to be an affirmation for you. It's something that you constantly do. So trust has to continue to be built and continue to be established as we go forward. She said, what did you say? Wait a minute. You having sound issues over there? Someone else having sound issues?
No, your mic. I just text you. Yeah.
Is my mic giving sound issues?
Yeah. Yeah, your
Is
mic.
it good
Yeah.
now? Is it good now?
No.
My mic isn't good.
Yeah, static. Yeah.
You're hearing static?
Yeah.
In my mic?
Yes.
How about now?
Still.
How about now?
Still.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what just happened. How about now?
Still.
Is that better? Is that a little better?
No.
I'm having problems.
We can hear you, but it's just
it's really bad static?
Yeah, it's like a reverb.
Reverb. Oh. How about now? I'm sorry.
Still.
Is that better? It's
Go
still
ahead.
bad?
Yeah.
It's still bad. I'm not sure why. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know exactly what might have happened. Hold on 1 second. Let me just double check my cord. 1, 2.
We can hear you clearly, but it's just has that.
It's staticky really bad.
Yeah.
All right. So how about now? Is that still terrible?
It's still it's trying to be robotic.
Wow. Okay. Still robotic?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. So I'm just gonna kind of try to make this work the best way I can. Is it still doing it?
Yeah, it's still. We can hear you clear though.
Okay. All right. As long as you guys can hear me, that's that. I'll rest with that. So I'm not sure why. Hold on one more thing. All right. Okay. All right. How about now? Is that better, guys? I'm sorry.
It's still the same. Yeah.
Wow, I cannot hear any static. I sound clear here, but everybody else is saying that I sound staticky for some reason. I'm not sure why, but hopefully it'll clear up if it just popped in and started doing that. But yeah, so anyway, so that's one of those things. Let's see. Ram, would you like to jump on, my brother? I could bring you in if you would like to. I like that comment, man. Yeah, it is something that we do establish. Marilyn said she actually asked her husband, "Why do you love me?" Oh, wow. Okay. So see, that's what I'm saying. These are the things that we're establishing certain things every time we ask these types of questions. And so then it says to many people, too many people get married because they desire to use their marriage to bury their trauma that they don't want to deal with. True. So much truth. There is so much truth to that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else we got here. I see Tiffany said, I've talked to women, but to rely on anyone or to tell my darkest secrets, it would have been with you from the beginning until you show me different. When we decided to get married, I'm sorry, it was kind of, I see some, I guess you might have texted this or something. But when we decided to get married, that was my declaration of trust. It was given. It may grow based on you proving that, but I would have never got married unless I trusted you first, basically. People really don't know what marriage is, which is why there are so many issues. Absolutely. And it's something that's perfected in time. And this is something that I keep making emphasis on, is that marriage is something that happens in time. Men can get better at, but it's also something that women get better as time goes by. No one walks into marriage in a perfect way. We've never been, if we've been married before, we've never been successfully married before because we're divorced, and unless someone might have passed away and you're marrying again. Mm-hmm. If you're divorced, then there obviously was some issues and it wasn't perfected. So let's be real. But now when we talk about marriage, it's a process where everybody gets better as time goes by. And I'm seeing people say something about robots. Am I still sounding like a robot?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I must have an effect on my. I might have pushed a button that caused my
I think
effect. You go ahead and talk.
I think Will Smith slapped the mic.
He might have did.
Yeah. But marriage, man, is not an easy walk, but you got to fight for your marriage if you really love that person. A lot of times, people get in an argument, they say the wrong stuff. You got to watch what you say. And spiritually, some people are saved, saved, and some people are not saved in marriage. So you got to look at it that way. We could be talking to some people who are totally not saved. We could be talking to people who are saved. There's a spiritual side, and then there's the dead side. You see? So it's a lot to it, but it is work. You come into it. You got to look at it how it was, I guess, in the beginning when you got together. Got to go back to that, And sometimes what I do, I get mad and say the wrong things too, but I always, every day I always look at a picture of my wife, my kids, and I go back to a lot of the old pictures, and that make me feel good and it make me smile,
Right.
So I do that every day. So you have to work hard on your marriage, It's not easy. It's not easy. So you just got to find things and stay focused, talk to God, You can't talk to no one else. You talk to God. You can't talk to your spouse. Talk to God.
Absolutely. Can you guys hear me still, or did I lose you guys completely?
No, we can still hear you.
Is it better now?
You still singing.
It's still bad.
Yeah, but you can hear you clear. It just has that vibrate. It's vibrating. That's what it's doing.
Vibration. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what might be going on my side, but anyway, as long as you guys can hear me, we'll just have to deal with it the most we can for the rest of the show. Um, we have someone said the women ask about love because they simply want to hear the special things they think that you think. Um,
That's great when a woman does that.
It may be something with our storm. It's a bad storm here on this side. It was a bad storm, so it may be something going on with that. I'm not sure. But as long as you guys can hear me, that's all that matters. So I think it's very important that we just keep reminding ourselves. And men, I'm going to say this again because I know we kind of shifted to the thought of marriage, but man, I want us to just kind of go back over to the thought of remembering that, man, this is very important. Men, that the men in your circle, the men that are in your circle, take out the time to give great direction, great information to each other, and to hold each other accountable. Because it's so important for men to hold each other accountable. If we do not hold each other accountable, no matter what we do, if we don't hold each other accountable, we're going to have problems at the end of the day when it comes to our relationships in life, period. Because a lot of times men can do things that we know it's not right, but we let each other slide. And we laugh about it. We joke about it. But if you know that a brother is doing something that's not good for his family, for his relationship, for his marriage, for his life, period, take a moment and say something to each other. Hold each other accountable. Check your brothers. Men, check your brothers. It's so important that we take out the time to check one another so that we don't just set each other up for failure. I think that is very important. Give me 1 second, if you would. I'm going to just drop this in right quick before we go any further.
Hey, it's Thomas Ware here. Go pick up your copy of Reinvention of the Black Man, Declaration of Dependence. It's available on Amazon and Walmart, so get your copy today. Hey guys, this is something that you don't want to miss. Our first Faith and Mental Health Tour is stopping in Orlando, Florida on May 22nd at 5 p.m. A Chili's Art Cafe located at 2295 South Hiawassee Road, Unit 100. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get back to our show.
Please make sure you share the word with everybody. I see Joseph said, can you learn from a divorce perhaps for another marriage? Absolutely. You can learn a lot of things from a divorce to get ready for another marriage, man. I believe that every single area of failure in life is a learning lesson that we can take with us to perfect the next level that we go to in life, whether it's a new marriage or whatever it may be that's going on in your life. I think that it is. However, I would just say that if we never pay attention to the areas that failed and why it failed, and we have to be honest also, I think just the reason for failure. You know, sometimes we have a real big problem with taking, whoever the blame is on or whatever caused it. If it's on us, we have to look at ourselves sometimes and try to weigh out and say, look, what could I have done that would have been would have contributed to better outcomes in this relationship, so that it wouldn't come to divorce? What could I have done that could have spent this before it turned bad? I think that if we take out the time to really look at that, I think that we will be better in the next stage that we go to, regardless. Cameron, give a word on that, man. You've been married before. You've been divorced before. Help us out with that.
I missed that last part again that you said.
Read that. It's that question. On the question itself. Can a divorce? Yeah, that question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can. You can learn from You might have a friend, someone within your family that been through something, and you may have see the negative and the positive with it, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just heard somebody came through the speaker.
Oh, go ahead.
Did
Go
you hear
ahead. You
that?
good?
Okay.
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So there's negative, positive, you know, things. First of all, as far as you know, if you're a person that focus on the word, like I said, marriage is something that you have to really work. A lot of times you may get into it, deep set around things and feel like giving up, but if you really love that person and you know, you got to look at, you know, where, you know, you got to really go deep down and really like look at the issue and see how you can solve the issue. If you love them a whole lot, get on your knees, pray to God, you know, but you can fix it if you really want it bad. Now, it depends now. If it, like I said, if it's real toxic, it's you know, it may be a little hard, you know, a challenge. So but you can just try. You know what? When it's all said and done,
Yeah.
just say, hey, I tried. You know, just say I tried.
Give it a good try. Definitely got to give it a good try. Hey, let me ask you a question. Does my
I
mic
can
sound
hear
a
you
lot
good
better?
now.
Well,
Oh
so
yeah.
for some reason, my microphone took my system decided to switch to one of my other microphones, and so it was running off another microphone that I have hooked up for some reason. I don't know why, but it's better now. So,
Well, you sound like Walter
so,
Cronkite right now. They won't know who that
you
is,
know,
but
me and
anyway,
Walter
you sound
Cronkite,
like him. Yeah.
we used to go out on yards together. Me and Walter
Yes.
Cronkite. I just drunk some potion that made me younger, longer. So
Yeah.
that's all. Anyway, yeah. So thank you, Arlene. Yeah. So guys, listen. So it's so important, and so when we talk about trust, now let's just say trust when it comes to marriage. See, we have a way of taking situations within the marriage, and this is where you really learn: do you trust each other? When the hard times hit, what is your go-to response? What is your go-to response? What is your go-to action when hard times hit? And trust really goes, you really don't know a person. I say it sometimes that, you know, until they sleep, wake up with them every day. But the truth of the matter is, when a person's upset, the things that come out of their heart, those are the things that say trust. You know what I'm saying? Because if bad things come out of your heart, then bad actions can come out of your heart as well. So you have to be very careful in building trust. We have to be very careful and manage our responses and manage how we react to each other.
Yeah.
When you begin to manage things, and that will build trust better, because guess what? I'm looking at how you respond to me. I'm looking at how you treat me, and I'll know how what next level of trust I can go to with you by way via how you treat me and how you respond to me when things aren't smooth, when things are rocky. Are you still my ride or die? Are you still in my corner? Do you still got my back? You know what I'm saying? Are you still giving me words of affirmation? Are you still building me up? Do you still think that I'm worthy of being shown love versus destroying me? You know what I'm saying? With your words or with your actions. These are the things that you know that a man looks at to establish that trust with a wife, because truthfully, it's where he finds the comfort. If there's no comfort there, if there's no safety there, it's going to be hard to establish trust. And I believe women are the same way. I believe women establish trust based on the same thing. So I think we should hold each other accountable as well. When we shift that trust, okay, we shift the trust over to our wife, and we have this, we've put all our trust in you. I believe that we as a couple should be able to establish that with each other and be able to look out for one another and build on and be very mindful of how we build together. I think that that's very important.
Maya Angelou said that a person look for how a person treats you in the beginning, what they say, their words, because that's really true. That person, you know, if they come out and say certain things to you and that's that's really negative, like putting you down and really hitting you with a spear, you know, she said, look deeply into that, you know. But I love what it was Tiffany and someone had wrote on there as far as how you speak to your spouse, you know, of the person that you're with, like saying good things, like, you know, how you doing today? I love you, you know, and for me, I love that stuff. And I think a lot of men, when men go out and go the other way, and someone is giving that to them outside, and women do the same too. They feel like that person is not you know, bringing in the money a certain way, or talking to them a certain way, and someone else is throwing something in their ear that they allow them to. That's how people fail and start going down and doing the wrong things, and that's not right. You know, it's not right. But for me, I love to hear beautiful things from a woman's mouth. You know, if a man could get that, just like if I give it to you, you should give it to me too. You know, that's how I feel, and that makes the relationship healthy. You know, playing with each other, saying little things, flirtatious, you know, being flirtatious, stuff like that. You know, to me, that's healthy. That help build the relationship, you know, make it stronger, and that help build trust.
Right. Absolutely. It builds it. And that's what you have to do. It's something that's established. It's not something that you just give away. And you know, at some point, you know, you would love to have a marriage where, okay, we dated for many years and we've established love.
Right.
A lot of marriages don't happen that way.
It doesn't.
A lot of marriages don't happen where you've dated for many years and trust was established and and so what I'm saying is that typically you won't come in with the same level of trust that you had from like your brothers that you've been around every day, that you play golf with, that you go fishing with. You've established, you grew up together, y'all fought together. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff together for many, many years. That's a different type of trust. It's a different level of trust.
Whole different type of trust.
Yeah. And so and sometimes it takes relationships many years for a husband and wife to spend time together, many years to establish that. It just really does. They can love each other. They can trust each other enough to get married. But at the end of the day, it does take a lot of time for some men to really drop all of their barriers to be able to share everything and establish that trust. It's just the truth.
I still feel certain things as far as not like you're being secretive, but I just think for protection of the relationship, sometimes there's something so deep I don't think should be shared, because, you know, even from the woman's side to the man's side, you know, because people, you know, some things just not to be said, you know, because it causes issues, and then argument will come back up and be most of the time it be in a negative way when it's not meant to be negative, you know, and throw back up in your face, and that's not right, you know. That goes for men and women.
Yeah, it takes a place of maturity also.
Right, maturity, right.
Maturity has to set in also. I mean, and that's another thing. Maturity has to be established as well. I mean, you can't expect to have a well-oiled machine when all of the areas of life have not come to fruition. I mean, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's gonna take time. Yeah. It takes time. Yeah. You know, my wife used to make a statement when we first got married. She used to make a statement about her grandfather and grandmother. And
that's what I'm about to say about 50-year-olds.
Yeah,
she was there for 50 years.
Well, she would say that, you know, she never heard him say a harsh word. He never raised his voice. And they were always sweet and kind to each other. And they were they were old. And she said she never saw that. And I said, well, did you see them when they were young?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You have no clue how many arguments they've had. But you know, a rock, nature teaches us that a rock, if water runs over the rough spots on the rock constantly, it will smoothen the rock out. And that's how it happens in relationships. Time causes things to work better. If you
Mhm.
learn from your mistakes and you constantly work to grow together, time will cause that relationship to be beautiful because you've stuck together, you've made the necessary changes that were needed, and then you can grow. And
Mhm.
maturity comes from mistakes. Maturity comes from pain. Maturity comes
Mhm.
from the growth in life. That's how you become mature. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, and that's stating from a standpoint of our mentality of maturity. But
Mhm.
that mentality of maturity comes the same way as the growth maturity. Teething has to happen before you grow teeth. You know what I'm saying? Puberty has to happen before you go through the changes of life that's needed.
Mhm.
But all of these stages have to happen, and a lot of times it's painful, a painful process. But if you stick with it, it can occur. It can come to fruition. Put it that way. Let me say this. Arlene says, never put him down or her. Always compliment each other. Sit and talk it out. Communicate. Always compliment each other. Never
Right.
stop dating. Absolutely. I believe that
Mhm.
100.
Yeah, that's perfect, man.
Also, I see Tiffany did say something else. I believe you grow into making the marriage more beautiful, but that's crazy to trust your boys and not the woman slash man you chose to marry. Oh well. Are we speaking? Are we speaking a better marriage or trust? While the two may go hand in hand, they are separate. I can come into the marriage trusting you, but we still have challenges that we learn to get through over the years. I understand. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. You always have challenges as you go through. Um, and a lot of times, a lot of the challenges that you do have is because you really don't trust the person yet. And look, there's certain there's certain there's certain factors that we can't leave out. Um, it's just certain factors that you can't leave out when it comes to trust, and it's different. That's why I keep saying there's so many different levels of trust.
Yes,
And
yeah.
so when I speak about the brothers, I speak from a standpoint of these brothers have spent time together, they've grown together. Brothers check each other because yes, you're right, Shab. We're speaking of brothers checking each other. Absolutely. And and so yeah, so in that process of the growth, we have to understand that brothers are gonna have a different type of bond. And so
Mhm.
we have to stay on top of each other's actions so that we can hold each other accountable. And that's the key behind it all is holding each other accountable because even our external relationships, other things in life, will never be good enough for it or ready if we do not keep each other held accountable for our actions. Chef, it's gonna go back and forth to the relationship. The ladies always come in and take over our podcast. The ladies come in, they come in and they make this conversation. Look, we gonna talk about us. I feel you. I feel you. I don't know why I still keep going back to that trust junk. Oh my god, you guys are funny, man. I swear, the later it gets, man, y'all get crazier and crazier. Okay, I got Lucinda. Lucinda, what's up, Lucinda? Say, guard your heart, tread lightly until God says that's him or that's her. Absolutely. Take your time. Take your time. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Tip and the ladies that got started now, boy. My wife talking about now she getting on. Uh-oh.
Hey,
Uh-oh.
hey, Thomas, I'm gonna check you.
Oh, hey, brother. Hey, Chef said his wife talking about she getting on now. Hold on. Here comes Tim. Here comes Lucinda. Stop laughing. Here, here we go. It said, well, you should have never spoke on the topic. Uh-oh, there we go. She started up now. She said, good night. There. Oh, the ladies, the ladies, y'all gonna be all right tonight, man. I tell you, this is a good conversation, though. I love the conversation. I think the content was great.
You can say good night.
Goodbye. Okay. Man, even Google trying to get in on the conversation on my phone. She said, I do not understand what the question was. We didn't ask you, Google. Oh boy. Man, I tell you, it's just funny, y'all. Look, we really, this is funny, but it's so real, man. It's real. Brothers, we got to check each other at the end of the day. We got to make sure that we look out for one another. We got to make sure that at the end of the day that we are our brothers' keepers for real. And we got to hold each other accountable for everything. Yeah, man, Google got that female voice too. That Google just popped.
Oh boy.
I do not understand the question. I'm like, don't jump in on this, Google. You don't want none of this smoke over here. They're starting up tonight. But yeah, man, I think relationships will get better in time. Men, we can do better in this area. Let's check each other. Even concerning, we bring relationship situations to each other sometimes, and what's the best move I should make? What's the best decision? I think it's very important that we consider each other in everything. No, yeah, Siri. Yeah, we consider each other's well-being in every area. So let's please look out for one another, man. It's so important. If this podcast has not taught you anything, fellas, we on our own out here. I'm just joking. We're not on our own. We got women that love us, and we want to make sure that we do right by them as well as ourselves in life. So yes, listen, thank you everybody that jumped in. Tell Siri stop answering questions. We are not talking to Siri tonight. We are strictly talking about the brothers. The ladies has made this a conversation about marriage only and themselves. I know Marilyn had something to do with that, but we're gonna. God bless everybody. God keep everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on this podcast. We will get back with you guys again on next Wednesday. Please make sure you check out the Faith and Mental Health tour that we're going to be doing on Sunday evening in Orlando, 2295 South Hiawassee Road, Unit 100. We will be there at 5 p.m. Please make sure you do so. And in the meantime, be blessed, not stressed. Let God keep you. Fellas, we are able to do it. Let's go.
They say